What up, guys? Your boy Quake back with a brand new episode of the Diverse Mentality Podcast. Man, I miss saying that. Man. Season 5 premiere finally, right? Finally, Quake. Where the fuck have you been at? What is going on? Why did it take this long? I know. I apologize. I want to first off say thank you all for the support throughout, 7-8 months. You guys have been asking, what's going on? Are you okay? When can we expect the podcast to come back? All these things. And I owe it to you guys to explain what's happened in the past 7 to 8 months. And unfortunately, as I'm recording this episode, just like how I ended the last episode, I am a little bit sick. I have a little bit of a sore throat and a little bit of a headache, but I'll make it through. It's not a big deal. So I apologize if I end up drinking a lot of water or anything like that while I'm talking. I owe it to you guys to explain what's happened. So let's get into that first. Then I want to talk about the future of Diverse Mentality and this podcast, the new format going forward, which you guys will like and hate. There's going to be some stuff you guys are going to like, some stuff you guys are going to hate, but hey, it is what it is. It is still hot as hell in this office, by the way, in this warehouse area. So the good news is I will eventually get an AC unit. So if I'm sweating on camera, I apologize. It is extremely hot in here. Let's talk about where I've been. So if you obviously listened to the last episode, which was in December, I believe December, like mid-December, December 18th, I think, when I looked at the date, 2024. And we are in, July 20th, about to be the 21st. That's, I want to say 7-8 months, something like that. My dad was sick at that time, really, really sick. Things were going downhill very fast. And to be honest with you guys, I couldn't even focus on the podcast. There was nothing. I couldn't focus on the main channel where I do documentaries and stuff like that. I just couldn't focus on work at all. Every time I would come here in the podcast, I would be thinking about him and it would depress me and I would just be in a bad mood. But I powered through it for a couple of weeks. But I was like, man, it's unfair to you guys to listen to me just kind of go through the motions with this stuff. And my mind wasn't at this at all. I didn't want to be nowhere near work. I just want to be near my dad and, helping him through what he was going through. And unfortunately, after I ended that podcast, he ended up getting a lot more sick. His breathing got worse. And he ended up passing away on January 2nd, 2025. Very weird, man. I've been blessed. I was 29 at the time when he died. I turned 30 in April. I've been blessed throughout the 29 years of my life to not experience anybody really close to me die. I've had distant friends, people that I knew a little bit here and there die, and which is sad. Obviously, anybody dying is a sad situation, but somebody that's close to you obviously hits different for everybody. So I've never had anybody die that's been really close to me. So I didn't know how I was going to take it. I had no idea, what. I just knew something changed in me the moment he passed. Life has never been the same since then. And if you, have parents or have siblings or anything, man, anybody that's close to you that has passed away, life is different from before and after. It's like COVID. Before and after, things just kind of changed. Everything seemed weird and different. And it's the same situation here. Now I have a life before my dad was alive and now after. And it's a weird feeling. I don't want to talk too much about it. I get emotional already just thinking about it because it's a tough situation, man. He passed away right in front of me, last breaths. And I'll never forget that day. And so moving forward, what ended up happening was, I decided to, his last wish was to get buried back at my country in Kosovo. So, we made his last wish happen. And, I went back to my country. And, man, the stories I kept hearing about my dad probably anywhere from 700 to 1,000 people showed up, which is insane. Because my dad was a police officer back in my country. And then in 1999, we moved here in America because of the war we had in my country. So he was a police officer back then, and he saved a lot of people's lives, and I did not know that. I had no idea. My dad never was somebody that would brag about that or say, I did this, I did that. Just a lot of people, man, came and told stories and said, man, if it wasn't for your dad, I wouldn't be here right now. So it was great hearing that, man. I got to meet up with family that I haven't seen in a long time. These type of things, when somebody passes away, a lot of people gather together, distant family members to close family members. So it was beautiful to see everybody and just people, tell their stories about my dad, which I had never heard before. Yeah, we ended up burying him. came back, and I didn't want to get back to work, to be honest with you. I had no desire. And I know that's a luxury. That is a luxury, to be able to not have to automatically go back to work when other people, when they're grieving and doing and having to deal with this stuff, they have to immediately go back to work. I have the luxury of, owning my own business, owning my own company, so I don't have to answer to anybody. I don't have to sit there and be like, oh, I got to get back to work because they're going to fire me. Thankfully, I could take my time, which I did. It's important to take care of your mental health before anything else. And plus, my mom ended up taking off work too. So I was like, you know what? I just want to spend time with my mom, my family, and that's it. I don't care to get back into anything right now. I just want to do that. So what ended up happening was, I believe I got back to America like mid-January, January, 18th, 20th, something like that. And for about a month to like end of February, I just didn't work. I didn't do anything. I deleted social media. I just wanted to kind of clear my mind, reflect on life, what I want to do in my life, how I want to impact lives. I want to actually leave an imprint like my dad did. I won't be able to ever fill his shoes because saving lives is something that not many people on earth can say they did. And he could. He could do it. He could say it multiple times, people, which was, I never heard these stories too, which is crazier. That whole month, I just decided to chill out, spend time with family. And then towards the end of February, I ended up getting back into kind of a little bit of a groove to, figure out what I wanted to do with Diverse Mentality. Where do I want to take this? What's going to happen moving forward? Do I want to keep doing this? Because I was actually questioning that too. Should I keep doing this? Is this something that I have still a passion for? You just start questioning a lot of things when things like this happen in your life. You start questioning, what are you doing in your life day to day? Is it making an impact? And then as I joined back on social media, a lot of people were messaging me saying that, through their daily commutes, they listen to the podcast, they watch my documentaries. And, so that gave me a lot of inspiration and hope to keep doing this. Because, if I can take you guys away from any problems that you guys have in your life to enjoy, talking hip hop or whatever I'm talking about on this podcast. Sometimes I just go off the rails and talk about random things. It is a blessing, not only to have people to listen to me speak, but also, to be able to connect with people like that. It is something that I don't take for granted. It's something that I appreciate every single day. And towards the end of February, beginning of March, I started getting back into making documentaries, and I started working on Drake versus Kendrick Lamar, Who Really Won. And then I ended up releasing that towards the end of March. And then I said in April, I'll come back with the podcast. Obviously, that didn't happen because there were two things. The first thing was I didn't want to just come back on the podcast, do the regular format, and just, continue how I was doing it. I felt like it's been such a long time. If I'm going to come back to the podcast, I got to come back not empty-handed and revamp things. So I kept thinking about what should I do? And as April went on, I was like, man, I don't know. I was going back and forth, this format, this, should I do this? Should I keep it like this? And as time went on, I just kept going back and forth, and I really wasn't liking the ideas that I was coming up with, man. And I was stuck creatively in this kind of hole where it just wasn't, nothing that I was saying was like registering to me. And when I released the Drake versus Kendrick, I expected a better performance out of that documentary. And it didn't fly. I didn't do horrible, but it did like 100,000 something views. And, I expected like, hey, I'm getting back to it. People, I haven't done a Who Really Won in a long time. So people are going to really enjoy this. And it just didn't perform the way I expected. And I think that kind of discouraged me as well. And I was dealing with still stuff with my dad. When somebody dies in America, you got to deal with the estate. And I ended up having to be like an estate lawyer and figure out probate court and all this crazy shit as well. So I was like, you know what? Let me just kind of chill a little bit again. Let me figure out creatively, what I want to do. And it brings us now to what I'm doing right now with Diverse Mentality. And I'm going to explain this as easy as I can, and then if there's any confusion, I will be releasing a video kind of breaking this down a little bit better. But basically, there's going to be two different versions of the podcast. There's going to be this one, which I talk about news. I talk about my top favorite albums of the year. I make lists, whatever. Like right now, I'm going to be talking about towards the end of the podcast, the top 50 Cent songs. I will be going through number 50 till 21, and then I will be posting about it on Instagram, the full list, And then from there, I will, see people's responses, and I will continue the conversation talking about 20 through number 1 on the next episode of the podcast. So nothing changes in terms of like the dates of the podcast when they release. Same Monday and Thursdays like it's always been. Same time on YouTube. Same thing. So the regular podcast stays the same, but there will not be guests on this podcast anymore. That is going to be split. So every time I have an artist or anybody I'm interviewing, it will be on a different podcast. It will be titled Diverse Mentality Podcast Guest Interviews. Or I think it's, let me see. Let me get the actual title. Let's see. Diverse Mentality Podcast Guests. That's it. And this will be just straight up interviews that I do. It will be posted directly on there, and that's it. This format of the podcast is me breaking news, is me talking about, lists, whatever I feel like talking about, top 10 hooks of this artist, top 10 songs, whatever, my favorite albums of the year, album reviews, stuff like that. So it'll be a mixture of news and my opinion on things. And just like the regular format that I had it, but I will be doing that a lot more. And then I will eventually incorporate as well live streams. I know I've been saying that for a while, but it's tougher to get that going because it takes up a lot more time and you got to kind of schedule it at a certain time. So I'll figure that out in the future. But for right now, this regular podcast will just be me talking news and then me giving my opinions on things and making my lists and reviews, album reviews, stuff like that. So it will be still put out the same way like it's always been, but it just will not be mixed in with artist interviews. Now, the second one is where things get a little bit interesting. You guys are going to like it. You guys are kind of going to hate it because of how I'm breaking it down. But this guest side of the podcast will be interviews I do where I actually fly out, because the problem was with trying to get guests on this podcast was getting them to come to Atlanta. It's really hard to get somebody to come here and then sit down and do an interview, take out the time. It's a lot harder than you going to them. So this new format will be a Vlad TV style or Art of Dialogue type of style, where I will be behind the camera and I will be interviewing the artist. So the first artist that I am premiering with the podcast is Young Buck. Yes, I got Young Buck. I know I've been talking on the podcast for how many years? The reason why I've been talking about it so long is because he wasn't coming to Atlanta. He had legal problems. At the time that he did come, it was a bunch of events happening. So instead, I went to Nashville, drove 4.5 hours with Tafili, shout out to him, and did the Young Buck interview. And it happened that quick in a snap of a finger because I actually went to the artist. So that Young Buck interview will be separated from the podcast. It will be on its own episode list and stuff like that. And this is the part you guys probably are not going to like, but I have to do it in order to maximize revenue. There will be parts released with the interview. So it'll be part 1, part 2, part 3 until, however long it is, 20 parts, 30 parts, whatever amount. It might be shorter, longer, whatever. The full interviews, though, will be on YouTube memberships and Patreon. Now, how I'm going to break this down, it's really this simple. If you're already subscribed on Patreon on a $3 tier, you will not get these full interviews. I know, boo, Quake, blah, blah, blah. Here's why I'm doing it like this and why I have to do it like this. On the Rich Gang tier, which is the $10 a month tier, you will get full interviews immediately, uncut, ad-free, as well as documentaries, uncut, ad-free, and 24-hour early access to the documentaries and whatever else comes on the Rich Gang tier. So you're getting more bang for your buck. The price doesn't change. It stays at $10, but you're getting way more content. On the Respect tier, it will stay exactly the same, $3. So if you don't want to pay for the full interviews early, you're not forced to. You can still pay the $3 a month and get those uncut, ad-free documentaries and just enjoy that tier with the Discord access as well. Now, in the YouTube memberships, this is why, and you're probably wondering, why are you splitting this up as well, Quake? Why is it 2 different platforms? Why can't it just be one? Because YouTube, when I upload uncut documentaries on there, they get blocked and copyrighted. So it doesn't matter if they're private or public. YouTube system scans it and blocks it regardless. So I can't put them into one, or else I would just put them into YouTube memberships and would be good to go. But instead, I have to separate them because Patreon doesn't block them. Patreon has its own servers that don't go through these scans and force you to have blocked videos. So on the YouTube side of things, there will be 2 tiers. There will be a Respect tier, which is you just showing love. It's $2 a month. You don't get extra content on there. It's just getting priority response to comments, and you get some cool badges, and that's really about it. That's just if you're like, hey, I want to show some support. I don't got that much to spend that much, per month. It's just $2. Hey, show love. I appreciate it. Anything Any amount helps. So that's that tier. It's just an entry level tier, something to show love and respect. Then there's the Rich Gang tier on YouTube, and it is $3 cheaper than the Patreon, but it doesn't come with the uncut ad-free documentaries. It's actually $2, sorry. It's $7.99, $8 a month versus the $10 a month. So if you're looking at it from my perspective, I would get the $10 a month on Patreon. It's more bang for your buck. You get the uncut ad-free documentaries. You get them 24 hours earlier. You get the Discord access, and you get the full interviews early without having to wait for each part to come out. So I would do that tier. That's like your best value if you're looking at everything. And then there's the Stun Island tier, which is $25 a month. And that gets all that stuff. On top of that, you will get to be able to ask questions to those artists. So depending on how many questions get submitted, so I will tell you guys early on, hey, I'm going to interview, let's just say Lil Wayne, right, for example. What questions do you guys want me to ask Lil Wayne? You guys will put your comments in there. Whatever comment gets the most upvotes, the most likes, or if there's not that many comments and there's only a few people, I'll probably end up asking all those questions. But I'll have to see how that goes. You know, I'll have to test it out, see how many people join, because not a lot of people want to spend $25 a month, and I understand that. So we'll see how many members we actually get on there. We do have a few members on Stun Island right now, so those people will automatically get that access, but I'll have to see with that moving forward. But that's basically the breakdown. It is split up in terms of interviews. So the Buck interview will drop on the main Diverse Mentality channel. That's another difference. It's not going to be on the podcast channel. So if you're on the podcast YouTube right now, it will not be on there. It will be on the main Diverse Mentality channel. It will be split into parts, and that's where the YouTube memberships program is at. It's not on the podcast channel. So you're probably wondering on the audio side of things, what happens? Do I get to hear this interview immediately? No, I don't know if they have programs of memberships on there. If they do, I will be uploading them immediately. If not, whenever the full interview is finally done coming out after, whatever 10, 15 parts or 20 parts that comes out, then I will upload the audio version on there. I know some people are going to be upset at this, and they're going to be like, why do it like this, Quake? Why put things behind a paywall? Technically, they are, but technically they're not. It's just earlier access to the content, and it helps me revenue-wise because it costs. So I've interviewed so far 3 artists, and I'll reveal, the artists and when those interviews are dropping. My plan is to drop every Monday a new artist interview. That's my plan. That's my goal. I'll see if I can make it happen, because I am new to this. I'm going to have to figure out budget-wise because it does cost money to do this. When I went to Young Buck, travel to Nashville, it cost me money to go there, obviously. Luckily, I didn't have to get a hotel because I only stayed that day and I had to leave that night. I was exhausted, tired. So I saved money on that aspect. But driving there, coming back, costs money. Paying the artist sometimes to interview. Some artists want to get paid to do interviews. Some don't. Some don't really care. So it depends on that as well. So it does cost money also to pay the artist sometimes. So there's a lot of factors into it. And I need the more income that I have coming in, the more I can do this, the more I can expand. That's all it is. I'm not looking to get rich and, oh my God, and I need more money. Like, hey, I'm happy with what I'm making. I'm not, going crazy over and be like, I need to become a multi-billionaire. I'm trying to provide great content like the Get Rich or Die Trying documentary. I took all the money you guys have been supporting me on Patreon, all on YouTube, put that up and made that insane documentary. And I can keep doing those in the future. Me and Young Buck discussed potentially doing it straight out of Cashfield documentary. But that's going to cost money. It's going to take time. I have to travel, to Sha Money again. Travel to Dirty Swift to produce Thou Shao and all these other artists, Mr. Porter, if I can get him, and all these other artists that I produced on the album. That's going to cost money. It's going to be a high budget. But, hey, that's all this. It's a business at the end of the day, right? So if you guys want to support, I'd really appreciate it. But that's essentially the breakdown. I will be breaking this down a little bit better. But if you're interested, hey, I want to see the Young Buck interview immediately, I would go to Patreon, pay that $10 a month, go to the Rich Gang tier. That's a more bang for your buck because you get the uncut ad-free documentaries as well. You can go to YouTube, save an extra $2, and get those full interviews on there as well. It's really up to you. I wish I could combine them into one, like I said. But that's essentially the new Diverse Mentality, the new format. On the main Diverse Mentality channel, you guys will be seeing parts of interviews, Buck, part 1, part 2, part 3, part 4, and documentaries. That's what the main channel will be. So it's not like I'm stopping documentaries and, no longer doing that. But, it will just be formatted like that. Now, on the podcast, same format as it's always been. And, news will be strictly on the podcast. That's another thing, too. It will not be on the main channel anymore. There will be no more news clips on their news videos. It will be strictly on the podcast. So that's the difference. I hope I didn't confuse you, but really, there isn't much changing. There's just YouTube memberships. These interviews are going to be coming out on those YouTube memberships, as well as, Patreon, if you're on the Rich Gang $10 tier. So for $10 a month, uncut ad-free documentaries, 24-hour early access to those documentaries, Discord access, full interviews immediately. So I think you get a lot more bang for your buck there. But if you want to save $2 a month, go to YouTube, do the $8 a month, and you get full access, obviously priority comments, specialized badging on YouTube, and full access to the YouTube interviews or the artist interviews immediately without having to wait for each part to come out. So that's the breakdown of it. Sorry for talking for so long, but I just had to talk about where I've been and then obviously break down this new format. I hope you guys support me on this. I want to expand this and do a lot more, and I had to come back with something. So I came back with the Buck interview. Even if you're not paying on those tiers, it doesn't matter. The interview is still going to be coming out just in parts on the main channel. You guys get to enjoy every day a new part coming out, part 1, part 2, part 3, until it's done, right? Part whatever. So it was a dope interview. The only thing I didn't like is that it was a little rushed. I was hoping to have a little bit more time with him, but unfortunately something happened and he had to bounce out. But he did say, "Hey, I fuck with you." We hung out that whole night. It was really cool, man. Meeting Young Buck, it's like you're my childhood hero. Essentially, these guys were Buck, Yayo, Banks, 50, even Game to a certain extent. I grew up listening to these guys, so to me, meeting Buck was the coolest thing ever. And on there you also get behind the scenes. I forgot to mention that. So I have a little bit of behind the scenes footage with Buck. I will be posting on there. It's not much, but it's something that's really cool that just to share with you guys. In the future, I'm going to be shooting a lot more of the behind the scenes stuff. I think it's cool content to have, So yeah, that's the update. Yeah, let's get into the news, man. I haven't done this in a while, so bear with me. I missed the whole Diddy trial, but nothing really new happened with the Diddy trial. There's been probably, throughout the whole trial, there's probably 20 to 30% new information. A lot of it was like regurgitated stuff mentioned on trial. So nothing really too crazy. I do think, my opinion on it is that I do think that Diddy is going to get some time, but not a lot of time. I think he'll probably get less than 5 years, and that's it. He'll walk away scot-free. Not really scot-free, but serve a little bit of time and get to live his life like he normally did. I think his public image is forever destroyed, though. I don't know if he'll be able to be inserted into like brand deals again and just be back into normal, Diddy, everybody loves Diddy, that type of style. It's going to be a lot different. So, yeah, that's going to be interesting moving forward. Let's get into the news, and we'll start out with YNW Melly. Yes, he is still not anywhere near free. Trial hasn't even started, which is insane. I mean, we're talking 2 years now. So let's go over the article. YNW Melly's attorney has reportedly been under investigation for 18 months for possible alleged witness tampering. Now we know why. It's taken 90 million years. 2 years after the double murder mistrial, the court continues to debate the upcoming retrial of YNW Melly. What's more is that, according to XXL report, there could be other illegal obstacles for both teams to face, whether head-on or via preparation. On Wednesday, July 16th, Melly went to a pretrial courtroom hearing where Judge Martin S. Veen ordered the court to turn over documents connected to the rapper's defense attorney, Raven Liberty. According to NBC 6 South Florida, Liberty has reportedly filed an 18-month investigation alleging possible witness tampering, although no criminal charges have emerged at press time. Information about this investigation remains a tight secret given its ongoing nature. We will see how the situation develops for YNW Melly's legal team. Throughout this whole process, both the prosecution and defense have faced a lot of challenges to make their arguments and secure their goals. All the while, the Florida MC has been behind bars since 2019. However, during this Wednesday, the court hearing, all parties learned news that might make their path forward a little bit more visible. The retrial is set for September 10th, which is crazy. Yeah, this has been, I think this September was like 2024 when they announced that as well. It's going to be September 2024. Now we're looking at September 2025. I don't know whether YNW Melly did it or not, and I've said this millions of times, but one thing I do know, if I was locked up and I can't even get bail, and it's all because they're fucking retrying and all this bullshit, let me at least be free, at least while I wait. I mean, so that's the thing I kind of see that's unjust about this, but we'll keep our eyes open and we'll see what happens moving forward. However, like I said, I don't think anything's going to happen, man. It's taken so long. This is probably going to get pushed back as well. I think in 2026, maybe we'll see a trial and things will, happen moving forward, but we'll see. Continuing on, Tupac allegedly wanted Suge Knight to kill him after the shooting, Las Vegas shooting. And this is something that Suge Knight has just recently said. It's the first time I'm ever hearing about this. I don't remember ever hearing that Tupac wanted Suge Knight to kill him. But let's go over the article. Tupac allegedly wanted Suge Knight to kill him after he had been mortally wounded in the Las Vegas shooting that ultimately ended his life. Speaking to people from behind bars, the Death Row Records co-founder detailed his view of the night's events. He explained, "I got out and tried to tell the officers what happened while I was bleeding everywhere. I then was getting Tupac out the car. Even when the door was open, I had to go over there, bleeding everywhere, take the seatbelt off him." According to Knight, Pac then asked him to end his life. "Kill me, shoot me," he claims, the late rap legend said. That's crazy to hear because, I don't know why he would say something like that. I think Suge Knight, and I said this before, I think Suge Knight just says stuff to create, titles and get headlines and people to talk about him again. Like we're talking about him right now on the podcast. I think a lot of this stuff is just, or maybe he's remembering it after all these years. I don't know. I don't know why Tupac would say that. Maybe just to end him out of his misery. I don't really know. But the main reason I'm talking about is because Tupac's murder trial has been delayed until next year, which is crazy, after new evidence was uncovered. The ruling came after Keefe D, who was the only person to ever be charged with the killing of the rap legend, filed a motion to delay the trial, citing new witness testimony, which apparently helps to prove his innocence. Judge Kearney said during the hearing, "It looks like there are quite a few things that are left to be done to get this case prepared so that Mr. Davis can have effective assistance of counsel." The judge also asked Keefe D if he agreed to the delay, which he did. In the aforementioned motion, Keefe D's legal team argued that they needed more time to interview witnesses and do investigative work that was critical to their case. According to the defense, investigators have discovered witnesses who can prove that Keefe D was not at the scene of the murder, which occurred in September 1996 on the Las Vegas Strip. Keefe D has been in police custody since September 2023 when he was charged with orchestrating the fatal shooting of Tupac. So yeah, that's a little update on that as well. It was in the same article, so that's really interesting. I guess, we'll see next year what happens with Keefe D. If he gets, I think he's going to get charged with it. I really don't see how he doesn't, but you never know, man. In these situations, if he finds a witness that says he wasn't there, I don't know how reliable a witness is like that, but there's a lot of witnesses that says he was there. I don't know. We'll see what happens moving forward. Continuing on, and this is something that I actually reported on the Diverse Mentality Instagram page, Akon's Akon City, according to BBC, was abandoned, and that the project was too expensive and taking too long, and they decided to opt for something a lot cheaper, and that's a lot less, expansive and huge, a lot smaller, in Senegal. But Akon denies the reports, so let's go over it. Akon's Akon City began development in 2020 after the icon finalized and against with Senegal. That makes no sense. Sometimes these articles get written. The government took back the land in early July. Akon made headlines last week over claims the Akon City project had been abandoned by the Senegalese government. Speaking with Philadelphia media personality Mina Say What on Mina's House podcast, the icon claimed the media has spread misinformation about Akon City, assuring it's still underway. Media narratives about Akon's abandonment were false, according to Akon, who explained what really happened to Mina Say What. We're still building it, so let's see if we can actually watch the clip. Yeah, let's watch it. Let's see what Akon has to say.
You were building Akon City.
We're still building it.
You still building it.
Yeah.
So why are they saying it stopped?
It's a big dream. It's something that it goes beyond the capabilities of what they think one man can create. And what they don't realize is it starts off as a dream and then it continues as something that becomes a reality as people start to adapt it. So it starts with one building and it becomes something that becomes monumental in the future. But I think what happens is with Africa is one of them places where the development of it starts now, and it is and it will become the future, 100%. But Africa's been getting raped for so long by the West. The last thing that they can afford is for Africa to wake up and start to develop itself. So this concept of what Akon City is to become is definitely something that shakes up the agenda.
So you're still having, this is in Senegal. So for people who are unaware, you were building a city. Complete. You are right. You are building a city run off of cryptocurrency.
That's what media does.
Run off of solar, completely solar, right?
Renewable.
And then it's supposed to be like the real life Wakanda.
It's the development of what Africa will be in the future.
Yeah.
Because we have all the resources to power ourselves, generate our own income, create our own income. Not only that, but we have the population. Because when you look at Africa, 65% of the youth, of the whole population is under 21.
Yeah.
So it's driven by the youth for the future, 100%.
Well, I'm happy that you're still building the city.
Oh yeah, it ain't gonna stop.
Because the media. So, do you now put out a press release? Or you just let them talk?
Well,
how does that work?
All you can, because you can't fight the internet.
You can try.
Listen, I got teams on it trying to combat all the negative, false information that these people are putting out. And just last week, we had over 23 million false ads on Akon City, just negative.
Where is that coming from?
It's the agendas, the powers that be.
That's
how it works.
Okay.
When they want to destroy something that can change the minds or the mindset of people, that's how they do it, through the media. So all you can do is pray to God and hope that people get it and use their common sense to know that a city ain't built in a day.
Right.
Or a month or a year.
And it requires a lot of money.
Money and time and resources, and people have to believe in it as much as you do.
All right, so I love Akon. Akon's one of my favorite artists of all time. I've always shown support and love to him. I just love Akon, right? I think his 3-album run is amazing. I love all those 3 albums, from Trouble to Convicted to Freedom, right? So when I reported the Akon City thing, I was obviously disappointed. But if you look at the photos, right, there's a photo of what's developed so far. And it's been, he announced it, I want to say 2018. We're in 2025. It's been 7 years, and they barely got the first building up. Like, it's just a little bit of wood, and that's it. Like, the structure of it, like the little... And I get it, right? It takes a while to get things approved, but 7 years, and that's it. I love Akon, and, I'm going to report on this like I'm doing right now, that he is still building the city. When I reported it, the sad part is I saw a lot of people hating on Akon in the comments, saying that, oh, look, he's just a scammer. He's an African scammer. He doesn't care about the people. He just wants to make money, his own money on cryptocurrency and steal. And so I hope that's not the case. Akon is, it's going to take time. We know that. Who knows if Akon will see it in his lifetime, because cities take a while to build. And I get what he's saying with the agendas, right? People are trying to, push false agendas and stuff like that. And I get that. It takes time to build something like that. And I'm looking forward to it. So I'm glad he addressed this, and I can't wait to see what happens moving forward. So Akon City is still in development. So shout out to Akon for that. Continuing on, 50 Cent. I always got to report on 50 at least one way or another. Come on, guys. You guys know it is what it is, right? 50 is suing his ex-girlfriend, a.k.a. his first baby mama, the one that he doesn't talk to, and the one that his oldest son came from that he doesn't talk to as well. And he's suing her for millions after her allegations about the relationship. So she was scheduled. Let's go over the article. 50 Cent's publishing company has filed a lawsuit against his ex-girlfriend, Shaniqua Tompkins, for allegedly promoting tell-all content online, according to documents obtained by All Hip Hop. The move violates a contract she signed with the imprint G-Unit Books back in 2007. With the deal, 50 claims she sold off exclusive rights to her life story for $80,000 and future royalties. That's crazy. 80 racks. The complaint centers around a series of video interviews posted on social media, and then she discusses her relationship with 50 Cent as well as their son, Marquise. She alleges that 50 assaulted her during her pregnancy and was abusive throughout the relationship. Capitalizing on a recent notoriety from a viral post commenting on testimony in the high-profile Diddy trial, Tompkins has repeatedly and deliberately exploited the very rights she conveyed to G-Unit Books. The complaint reads, 50's lawyer, Rena Jane adds, Tompkins' behavior was intentional. She explicitly referenced the very agreement she breached while she actively breached it, stating it was something that was going to have to be worked out legally. Jackson purchased these rights to preserve them for use in future biographical or autobiographical projects, but also in part because he was concerned that Tompkins would attempt to monetize their history and his name. His concerns were ultimately proven correct. That is crazy. So the video did get removed. It's nowhere on YouTube. I remember seeing this video I want to say 4 or 5 months ago. I don't know how I ended up seeing it, but yeah, everybody in the comments was like, because she announced this mini documentary where she was sitting down with the guy who allegedly drove 50 to the hospital after he got shot, who was in the car, when 50 got shot 9 times. And they were talking about 50 and like, oh, 50 didn't really get shot 9 times. It was really 3 times. And the guy was like talking shit about 50 as well. And like they announced this thing in like 2023. And I saw the clip in 2025 and people in the comments were like, 50 shut this shit down. It's not coming out. And they were right. 50, the crazy thing, I'm a 50 Cent fan. I'm not a 50 Cent stan. There's a difference between the two. I can recognize when 50 makes bad moves, bad songs, bad TV shows, whatever the case may be. I am critical of him despite people never noticing that and always saying, oh, you're always on 50's dick. You're always supporting him. But no, there's times where I'm like, no. I even told Buck, I was like, I don't fuck with him disrespecting you because you guys are part of G-Unit. I get the kind of Buck and 50 situation a little bit because of money and all that. But 50 disrespecting Banks, I've always said is corny. I never respected it. And there's stuff that 50's done that I just don't rock with. There's a lot of songs he's come out with that are ass cheeks. It just is what it is. He's an artist that will release bad music. Every artist has that. There's nothing wrong with that. With that being said, every time I do something, right, like see this Buck interview, what are the comments? Some of the comments of these 50 Cent stans, these psychopaths who, oh, 50's not going to like this. 50's going to take this shit down. Like, what do you, like, 50 doesn't just take shit down. I remember when I dropped the Give Rich or Die Trying documentary. 50's lawyer was like, don't post this shit. And I still posted it. And what's happened? The documentary's still up. Millions of views. Nothing's happened. Because 50 is a public figure. And people can speak on 50. Now, if you sell your rights and all this shit, different story. But yeah, there's nothing. When people comment, oh, 50's going to take this shit down. With her, it makes sense. But when people comment on me, I'm like, you guys are like stands. Like, I hate when 50 stands comment that. It's like 50 doesn't have this insane power to just take shit down and do whatever. I know he portrays this in his image. Yeah, has he done a lot of stuff? But no, I mean, he's lost. He's taken a lot of L's. Look at that movie that he tried to get shut down. That Skill House, that horror movie with that Bryce Hall guy, tried to go in court. He lost. He lost that. That was a recent report. He lost that lawsuit. So it's not like 50 can just take shit down and do whatever. Yeah, people are contractually signed to them like Buck, Shaniqua Tompkins, whoever else. Yeah, he can fuck with them because they're contractually signed to them and stuff. But he can't fuck with random people just making documentaries and stuff. That makes no sense. Unless I was spreading some really, really, really false information, which I didn't. I've never done with any artist. Then, there's really no reason. Continue on, though. But yeah, he is with the complaint. 50 wants Tompkins to remove and stop promoting the material in question. Pay damages amounted to $1 million, as well as any losses Unit Book suffers as a result of the breaches. Additionally, he's requesting that she cover legal expenses for the entire ordeal. 50 and Shaniqua Tompkins dated on and off throughout the 1990s. According to People, the relationship ended long before he achieved worldwide fame with his debut studio album, Give Rich or Die Trying. They had one son, obviously. 50 ended up posting about this, and he actually said, like, remotely a nice thing about her. It wasn't anything like super nice, but it was funny. He posted the article of 50 suing, and in the caption he said, I didn't realize how much she looks like me. Girl, you handsome with them baby hairs. LOL. So yeah, that's 50's take on the situation. And we'll see what happens moving forward. I think she is screwed, though. The stuff is getting taken down immediately. So clearly 50 has some type of right to it. Now, this article is just funny. I wanted to talk about it because this is the type of shit that happens behind the scenes that people don't see, and why split ups happen. Because this is just hilarious now looking back on it, but at the time, I'm sure Jay-Z was frustrated. So let's go over this. Memphis Bleek admits he and Beanie Sigel blew $300,000 instead of recording an album. During a recent episode of Rock Solid, Memphis Bleek recalled traveling to Miami in the early 2000s to record music. At the time, he was joined by his former label mate Freeway, who planned to make full use of the studio time. Bleek was supposed to be working on songs for a collab album with Beanie Sigel. So let's go over exactly what happened, because this is insane.
Me and Beans was supposed to do an album. They flew us to Miami, right? They said, everybody go to Miami. Me, I ain't have none of my artists with me, but Bean said, I'm bringing Freeway with me, because he ain't even have a budget. Free ain't have nothing. So they like, yo, y'all do the album. We bullshitting in the studio. Yeah. We get back to New York. Jay like, yo, what did y'all do? So me and Beans looking like, we ain't got nothing. We ain't do nothing. So he like, yo, y'all blew $300,000 just in the studio. Like, what y'all do? So then niggas like Guru was like, but Freeway got some records. And my nigga Free, you came with the 2 monster records, bro. You made, if I believe, I know What We Do Is Wrong is one of them.
Yeah, we did What We Do in New York, but we did Rock the Mic.
Mike in Miami.
That is crazy. So shout out to Freeway for actually getting some work done, but I would be pissed if I was Jay-Z, and I'm sure Dame Dash was furious as well. But these are the things that happen behind the scenes to, like, see, for example, 50 and Young Buck's relationship. 50 made it clear of the tax situation, and Buck was just blowing money, and 50 had to cover a lot of things. So we know that's what happened with the 50 and Buck situation, where the relationship just started getting worse. This is another example where artists have opportunities, and instead they fuck it off, and they blow it off, and they just do whatever. And I get it. When you're young, and you have, like me, if I was 21 and I had access to hundreds of thousands of dollars, especially in the early 2000s, you know, hey, man, I would be doing some crazy shit. Let's just be honest. I don't partake in drugs, but I would be having big booty Latinas everywhere. I would be having parties. All kinds of shit, right? Because, hey, man, you're young. You're never going to get your youth back, and you got all this money, and you're signed to arguably one of the hottest labels at the time. Come on, man. So I expect a little fuckery. You know, as a boss, I would expect some people fucking off a little bit and doing some dumb shit. But that's insane. $300,000 just blown with basically Freeway only coming back with music is crazy, man. And that just shows there's certain people's work ethics, right? Certain work ethics is why Jay-Z, 50, and all these big names became what they became, because they have work ethics that beat everybody else. You know, you got to be consistent. You got to be hungry every single day, regardless of what amount of money you get. You know, so just a very funny and interesting story. And I'm sure that's probably a lot of the reason why Jay-Z has distanced himself from everybody, ended up splitting, you know, from Rockefeller, and had his own thing with Rock Nation, stuff like that. So very, very cool story. Continuing on, Nas allegedly disses Jim Jones on an alternate version of a new Raekwon collab. So let's go over the article. Jim Jones recently went viral for some scorching hot takes about him being bigger than Nas, and it seems like Esco might have responded. Nas and Jim Jones have linked up respectively in the past, but these days it seems like their tensions are flaring up again. I don't know what the fuck Jim Jones is talking about, being bigger than Nas. I'm going to be honest with you. The only Jim Jones record I know is Ballin'. I'm not even joking. I don't listen to Jim Jones like that. I can't name one other song other than that. Right now, put a gun in my head, say 5 Jim Jones records. All I know is Ballin'. No disrespect to Jim Jones. No disrespect. This is because some of the comments the Dipset member recently made about being bigger than the Mass Appeal boss, aka Nas, which fans took as a scorching hot take. What's more is that the Queens rapper seems to have responded to the Harlem MC with a diss. It appears on an alleged alternate version of the track, The Amarada, that surfaced online, which is a new collaboration with Raekwon. The original cut appears on the Chef's new album, The Emperor's New Clothes. Here are some of the standout lines. Got smoke with me, beef with yourself. And you got me confused with your fabricated form of delusion. You're dusty, need to be bitch smacked. Jim Jones doubled down on his Nas comments, so we'll see whether or not he responds in any capacity. However, there's nothing explicit in the verse tying it to Jim Jones, and its veracity is under fire for some listeners. So maybe this is all a big misinterpretation, and folks should take it with a grain of salt. In any case, the verse is definitely fiery, and it's not hard to see how it could apply to Jones from Nas's perspective. But to be fair, there's a lot of other names this could have been targeted to. Yeah, that's fair. Listen, man, I like this beef that's happening. I know the UK American debate is happening where Drake, out of nowhere, just made a dumb comment and said the UK has better rappers than US. I know why he probably said that is because he's been kind of alienated from Americans in America. They're not really fucking with them like that, even though What Did I Miss debuted at number 2, which is a great song for that song, you know, for that track to debut after the whole beef with Kendrick. But I can see where he has a disdain for American artists, but come on, guys. No disrespect to the UK. Their accents ruin a lot of the music. I cannot get past the accents. That's the first thing. If I finally get past the accents, the bars are great, and they do kind of respect more of the old school of hip-hop. But come on. Hip-hop was birthed in America, Brooklyn, New York. Come on. Like, there's no... I don't give a fuck. Nas, Raekwon, all these American artists that would wash anybody. Skepta, whoever the fuck in the UK is rapping. Come on. You got Joyner Lucas going back with Skepta. I don't care to entertain that. I'm not a big fan of Joyner Lucas, no disrespect. Saying that the UK is better in any way, shape, or form is ridiculous. America washes. America has, don't get it twisted, because right now a lot of the artists are, they're more melody and they mumble a little bit more. There's 808s, more focus on the beats. Nah, I think it's getting shifted back. And the whole clip situation is kind of shifting a little bit more to people wanting to hear bars and clear words on songs versus 808s and crazy sounding music. I hope it shifts that way because I'm tired. A lot of these newer artists I'm not a fan of. I'm going to be honest with you. Same sounding beats, same sounding flows, not very versatile. And I'm not a fan of the new beat switching shit where like the beat starts one way and then switches towards the end. Like I was a fan of it a little bit, but now it's just getting annoying at this point, man. I don't want to hear a beat switching every fucking 2 seconds. It's annoying, man. But Nas would cook Jim Jones. Speaking on this, it's not even a, discussion. I don't know what Jim Jones just be talking just to get headlines. That's where I think it's coming from. But yeah, that's the little sly bars potentially at Jim Jones. Continuing on, Cash Out. Yes, if you don't know who Cash Out is, you made that song Cash Now. I'm Cash Now. Got a condo on my crib. I'm Cash Now. So shout out to him, man. That record was fire back in 2014. I want to say 2014. But he has been found guilty of RICO charges. Sentencing is scheduled for July 21st, which is literally today. So we'll see on the next episode what he gets sentenced. A Fulton County jury has found Atlanta rapper Cash Out guilty on multiple charges, bringing a dramatic end to a 7-week RICO trial centered on sex trafficking. The verdict also implicates the rapper born John Gibson, his mother Linda Smith, and his cousin Tyrone Taylor. What prosecutors described as a 7-year reign of terror, veiled, behind the rapper's public persona. Gibson was convicted of racketeering, rape, and 2 counts of sex trafficking. Though acquitted on 2 additional trafficking charges, Smith was found guilty on 1 trafficking count and not guilty of another. Taylor was also convicted of trafficking. All 3 are scheduled to be sentencing July 21st. The case, prosecuted by Ernell Whiffrey, painted a chilling portrait of an organized criminal enterprise masked by fame and glamour. This ain't just straight pimping. This is trafficking. She accused the trio of running a coercive and manipulative scheme that lured women into sex work under false premises. Yeah, so crazy, man. Yeah, so basically, it's 2012 hit. Sorry, I said 2014. 2012 hit. Cashing Out. I'm cashing out. I'm about to go bump that song. Nah, fuck that. Fuck this guy for sex trafficking women, bro. That's fucked up. But yeah, they brought a bunch of evidence. So yeah, he did that shit. He guilty as fuck. Bring that 50 Cent. I don't even know if I got that sound.
He did that shit. He guilty as fuck.
Exactly. Guilty as fuck. So, yeah, we'll keep our eye out for the sentencing. But sad way to end off, man, his career. Very sad way to end off his career. Let's get into new music. Drake and Central C. Which one? I don't know if this track officially dropped, but it's been teased online. Yeet and BNYX. Yeet. Freddie Gibbs and Alchemist, 1995. Young Nudie, 21 Savage, Project Pat, Ice-T. Trippie Redd, Woke Up / The Face. Raekwon, The Emperor's New Clothes. The album is out. Travis Scott and Cactus Jack, Jack Boys 2, the deluxe version is out. Jello, League of My Own, the album is out. Joyner Lucas, ADHD 2 is out as well. So that's it for new music, I believe. No. Benny the Butcher, Summertime, Butch 2, the album's out for that. Lupe Fiasco, RZA, Ferg, and A Witch, Wax On, Wax Off is out. Tommy Richmond, Miami is out. Logic, FOMO is out. And that's it for new music. Let's talk album sales, and this is where I'm going to talk my shit. Because I know you guys kind of want to hear my take on this whole clip situation, but I'm going to give my praise. Album sales. So number 1 is Travis Scott and Jack Boys 2. They sold 251,000 copies the first week. Justin Bieber debuted at number 2 with Swag, selling 167,000 copies the first week. Morgan Wallen is at number 3 with I'm the Problem at 146,000 copies. Damn, this shit is still, I think this is a new album, but it's on the charts. Crazy. Clips debuted at number 4 with 112,000 copies the first week, man. Round of applause for Clips. Huge round of applause to them. I want to talk about this, but first let's go over the top 10. K-Pop Demon Hunters, the soundtrack is at number 5 with 86,000. Twice This Is For debuted at number 6 with 81,000. A Tease Golden Hour Part 3 is at number 7, debut with 75,000. Giveon Beloved debuted at number 8 with 44,000. Morgan Wallen One Thing at a Time is at number 9 with 38,000. And then SZA SOS is at number 10 with 35,000. Going down, Party Next Door and Drake, Some Sexy Songs for You is at number 15 with 25,000. Kendrick Lamar, GNX, number 17 with 24,000. Drake, Take Care is at number 38 with 17,000. Juice WRLD, Legends Never Die. They re-released this, so it's at number 44, back up at 15,000. And that's it in terms of hip-hop. So let's talk about Clips doing 112,000. Round of applause, like I said. This is their second highest first week sales. They did, I think it was the second album, Hell Hath No Fury. That ended up doing like 120 or 130,000 first week. So they almost beat that. So round of applause to them. This is a group that came out in the early 2000s. First album released in 2002. And they're well in their 40s and 50s. And they're doing insane numbers like this. And they're, performing well. I mean, look at the views. They're doing great. And I think there's a few reasons for this. One, the rollout was immaculate. It reminded us of the 2000s rollouts, where artists actually did interviews for the rollouts, where there was some controversy. It reminded me actually of a 50 Cent type of rollout, where 50 would have like a record that would make, it'd sell a little bit. Like Massacre is a perfect example. Piggy Bank was on there, and it would make people be like, oh shit, look, he's dissing. But they had all the hits on there. So the same thing with kind of So Be It, where that last lines where he's, attacking Travis Scott, and it caused some kind of like controversy, and it had people paid attention. And they also did a great run, man. They did the Tiny Desk performance, which was great. They did all these interviews. They did all these different performances. So it turned out to be a great run in promoting your album. So that's the first thing. And I hope more artists take towards that, because I'm tired of this new era of artists where they just drop albums and don't do no fucking interviews. It's very corny. Like, I don't give a shit about this mysterious. I'm not saying like you have to do interviews every single time, but come on, guys, like, do the proper rollout. Stop trying to surprise drop albums all the time. Do a proper rollout, man. Promote it. Drop singles. Like, let's go the old school route a little bit here, because a lot of you artists dropping albums aren't doing great on numbers. You guys are just fucking dropping and hoping you guys are Beyonce. That's not how this shit works. So that's the first thing. Second, they're talented. They're still talented. They haven't lost their step. Lil Wayne, Carter 6, was Dookie Water. He lost his step. It's clear as day. They haven't. They're, in fact, in my eyes, better than they were before. That's, to me, my opinion. This album might be their best album. I don't know. I got to go back and listen. Lord Willin' is a really great album as well. Obviously, Hell Hath No Fury. What's the third one called, man? I forget. But great albums. This is an amazing. I mean, my quick review, I did it on Twitter a little bit. I give it an 8.5 or 8 to 8.5 out of 10, which is great. The first song made me, damn near cry because my dad died, obviously, earlier this year. They're talking about their parents. I love So Be It. Love Ace Trumpets. Love the track POV with Tyler, the Creator on it. I'm not a big fan of Tyler, the Creator, but I loved his verse on there. He clearly took advantage of being on the Clips album. Nas' feature on there was amazing. The only critique I had was like the Dream being on there made no sense. He didn't really add much to it. Pharrell being on like every hook singing, I didn't really enjoy, but that's really about it, man. I didn't have much of critique on the album. That's another thing too. They haven't lost their step. They're still cool. They're still hip. And to be doing this years later, after coming out in the 2000s, shows that there's still a hunger for these artists, as long as they're adapting to the new sound and they're working with like producers that have adapted. Pharrell obviously brought them to a great sound. They've always been working with Pharrell, so they work really well together. Another thing is, I think people are slowly shifting to wanting more bars, more hip-hop. Now, I'm saying this, but look at these other artists that are dropping. Benny the Butcher, Lloyd Banks, whoever that's lyrical, they're not really doing numbers. So I don't know if this is really, really shifting to that. I think this is a step towards that. Maybe there is a hunger for more, bars, more clarity in songs, more, I can actually understand these motherfuckers when they're rapping. I think there's a hunger for that too. So that probably plays a role into it as well. Great numbers, man, and a great album. Round of applause to them, man. If they can do 112,000, what makes me think is if 50 Cent dropped an album, what he could do if he did a proper rollout, proper promotion. I think you do 150, man. I think you do probably 200,000. Because he's never released an album with streams involved. Never. So we don't know. Animal Ambition came out in 2014 when streams weren't added into it. And that didn't do really that well first week. It did 46,000 like first week. That, I hope this like motivates, from Nas to Clips to Raekwon coming back to Ghostface, all these people coming back Slick Rick, all these artists coming back that are, from the 80s and 90s and 2000s. I hope it motivates, artists like 50 or anybody else trying to get back into the music thing and actually release some new material. So very cool, man. Shout out to them. Great work, great album. Now let's get into my top 50 Cent list. By the time you actually listen to this podcast, the top 50 Cent list will be available in full on the Instagram and on Twitter. You'll be able to see that full list. On here, I want to talk about numbers 50 through 30, and then actually through 50 through 21, and then on the next episode, I'll talk about 20 till number 1, because I want to see people's kind of response on the whole list, and then I'll kind of incorporate. I want to see what people say. So let's talk about what I have in my. I'm not going to really explain each song because it's just too much to explain, but I want to say this. This is the hardest list I've ever had to make. And there's been so many songs that I wanted to put on here, but I had to take out, put back in, take out, put back in. And it's so hard with the mixtapes included to, get everything out properly. There's stuff that I know. Here's the thing. The blessing and the curse is that I know every 50 Cent song that got released, and I've even heard songs that have never been released. The blessing is I can go through everything, and I know everything. The curse is I know everything. That's another problem, is that I have a lot to compare to. And with that being said, I went through every single mixtape, album, feature, whatever. Never mind with features, because I didn't feature features on this list. But I ended up going through everything. And this list doesn't say this is my firm top 50 of all time, right? As a fan, there's going to be moments where I like certain tracks more than others. So this isn't like a confirmed top 50 list for me. This is right now, because if I do another list in 5 years, it's probably going to change. But this is my list right now, what I feel is 50 Cent's top 50 songs of all time. And why did I do this top 50 list? Because it was 50 Cent's 50th birthday this month in July. So I thought, you know what, why not do a top 50 list? Like I said, it was the hardest list ever. It took me almost 2 weeks, and I was listening to everything. So let's go over a little bit of the numbers of what songs what. So at number 50, I have New Day, featuring Alicia Keys, Dr. Dre. Love this song, 50. The verse he spits on there, a lot more personal, which I really enjoy. The next song at 49, I have Hold On, which is off Animal Ambition. Love that track. Number 48, Ski Mask Way. Number 47, We Up. Number 46, Fuck You. Number 45, I'm Paranoid, which is off the Forever King mixtape. Number 44, Financial Freedom. Number 43, 50 Shot Ya. Number 42, SMS Get the Message. Number 41, Flight 187. Number 40, Best Friend Remix, the one with Olivia. Number 39, Straight to the Bank. Number 38, Run Up on Me. Number 37, Be a Gentleman. Number 36, Till I Collapse Freestyle. Number 35, Michael Jackson Freestyle. Number 34, Get the Message. Number 33, Ghetto Quran. Number 32, Rider Music. Number 31, I Gotta Get Mine. I love that record. Number 30, I Run New York. Number 29, High All the Time. Number 28, I'll Still Kill. Number 27, Don't Push Me. Number 26, Please Don't Play with the Animal. Oh, no, I'm an animal. It's a different song. It's I Run New York. The Walls Have Ears, little homie. I Run New York. But yeah, I'm an Animal is another record on number 26. Number 25, Back Down. Number 24, God Gave Me Style. Number 23, Maybe We Crazy. Because this is the way we came up front. This is how it's going to go down. Stunt. Number 22, Smile, I'm Leaving. And number 21, I Whoop Your Head, Boy. You know that I will. So that's it for number 50 through 21. And then I'll talk about the top 20 a little bit later. And what qualifies 50 Cent tracks? So I put no songs on here that are like, that you could potentially count as G-Unit tracks. I completely clear that out. And no features, like whatever he's featured on. This is not about his best verses. This is just about 50 Cent songs. Like, what are clear 50 Cent songs? Someone mentioned to me, The Mechanic. I'm the mechanic. I used to boom that fake shit. That is technically a G-Unit track. Came off the Return of the Body Snatchers track. Yeah, it's 50 Cent featuring Tony Yayo, but so I didn't put it on there because technically a G-Unit track, because I probably would have had that on there, to be honest with you. Yeah, it's going to be really interesting, man, to see people's response, especially in the top 20, because the top 10 was actually easier to make than the rest of the list, because the top 10 I'm pretty firm on. These are tracks that I just know I love and that I've always been in my top 10. It's rare that I ever change. I mean, maybe 10 changes with 11 and 13, you know, but top 5 is solidified to me. That's my top 5 of all time. I've never really changed it besides 1 and 2. That's it. But 3, 4, and 5, I've always kept it like that. I've never, you know, unless 50 releases new music in the future, that list's going to stay the same. But yeah, let me know what you guys think, man, off of me saying just those numbers. I'm going to kind of explain a little bit where some of these tracks came from. People will probably give me flack for having Best Friend remix on there, but I love the record, man. I love the sample. I love the way 50 flows on there. Olivia does her thing, so I don't care, man. This is my list and what I listen to. I don't give a shit. You know, people are like, oh, you're featuring the pop bubblegum records. You're not a real fan. I don't give a fuck what you think. I am a real fan. I know every 50 record. I've heard records that nobody's ever fucking heard in their lives. So if anybody is going to speak on 50 Cent tracks, it's going to be me. We Up is another record that I felt was underrated. New Day as well, which I mentioned. Fuck You, which a lot of people would have put in the top 10 because of the story behind it. But that's a lot of things too. A lot of these tracks is also the story behind it when 50 raps in there. If you don't know the connection to it, you don't know what he's talking about, it's not as interesting to you maybe as a song. So that played a little bit of a role, but nothing else played a role in terms of, you know, what's a popular song or none of this shit. I don't care what song charted where, what song is off what project. I could care less. What I like, what I listen to often. And that's not, so there's some Give It or Die Trying songs I don't have on this list that you'll notice. But is that to say that it's a trash song? No, I love Give It or Die Trying. It's the best album of all time. I love every track on the album. But if you compare to all the 50's catalog, right, every single song, it's hard to fit certain songs on there because there's just so much music. So I hope you guys, you know, check out the list. Let me know what you guys think. Hit me up on Instagram DMs, on Twitter, here in the comments on YouTube. And, you know, we'll talk about it on the next episode a little bit more, the top 20. And I'll actually explain a little bit more on the top 20 why I chose these certain tracks. It's too much to go over with these, but you kind of get the gist of where I'm at with a lot of these tracks and why I chose certain songs to be certain places. I think one of these tracks is probably going to piss people off because what's the song? Like Straight to the Bank. I know some people are like, man, why'd you feature on this, man? There's so many better music. Hey, man, I love 50 be spitting on that bitch, man. I got more whips than a runaway slave. Me and Yale go back like some hot top phase when I made 50 mil. Come on, man. Come on, man. Come on. What do you say? Bullets ripped through tissue. All kinds of shit, man. He spit on that bitch. So that's another thing. Maybe We're Crazy is one of those records I fucking love. I love the more personal 50 records. So that's why I have Smile. I'm leaving on there as well. That's a record where, like, when he dropped that, you could just tell, like, the weight on his shoulders from Interscope not pushing, G-Unit falling as, like, a label, him not performing that well with the album. Like, it was his honest feelings at the time. Like, hey, I'm done with this industry. So I love that song, man, when it came out. And I'm an Animal is one of those records. I just love the story behind it. Him going at Supreme and just laughing at Murder Inc. crumbling, and I Run New York being a great Jadakiss trolling record and all this stuff. So, yeah, let me know what you guys think, man, so far with that list. And then, obviously, you guys will see the full list on social media. But, yeah, that's it for today's episode, man. I hope you guys enjoyed it. It's great to be back. Like I said, this new format is what's going to happen moving forward. I hope you guys enjoy it. I hope you guys support, whether it's through YouTube memberships or Patreon. Please support. A lot more content will be coming your guys' way. I'm going to try to figure out live streams on how to do it where members can get the live streams mainly. Maybe I'll do some like public ones, like maybe 1 or 2 a month publicly and then like 1 or 2 privately as well. Try to do like 4 streams a month. I'll figure that out as time goes on because it's just hard to balance everything. I have to see how much work these interviews are being, you know, taken from me, and then how much. The cool thing about these interviews, I get to kind of knock 2 birds with 1 stone in a situation where, like with this Buck situation, I got to ask questions where I can use that footage for future documentaries. You see what I'm saying? So a lot of this stuff kind of intertwines together, which is really good. I should have been doing this from a long time ago, but hey, man, I really wasn't planning on going the interview route because I was just waiting for people to come to the podcast, which, hey, it just didn't work out the way I expected. And I get it. You know, it's hard for people to come travel just to visit you for a podcast. So going to them is going to be a lot better. It's going to cost a little bit more money, but hey, I have 2 more interviews locked and loaded. The Buck one's dropping right now. As you hear this, it'll be out that Monday. The next Monday, I'll drop the next one, and the next Monday, I'll drop the next one. And then hopefully I'll have more interviews loaded up as those weeks go on. If I don't, I'll probably end up dropping the Kid interview, the first one I did, and splitting it up into parts because I never really promoted that properly. And then I'll probably end up dropping the Benzino one, split that into parts as well. And then by then I should have some interviews locked and loaded. I got some artists that I want to interview on the top of my head right now. So we'll see what happens moving forward, man. I hope this format you guys really support. It would really mean the world to me. Whatever tier you choose, any tier helps. And hope you guys enjoy the content, man. The Buck interview was amazing, and these upcoming 2 interviews are going to be even more amazing. So thank you guys. As always, I'm officially back. Appreciate you always for supporting, listening, all that. I'm back, and I'm here to stay forever. I'm never leaving. So anytime, something, I'm never going to take a hiatus like this ever again. God forbid, unless something happens, I'll probably end up taking a month off or 2 months off, but never anything this long, like 5, 6, 7 months now. I really just wanted to come back and give you guys something that, there's something. I have a Young Buck interview, which is crazy. That's like my biggest interview so far in terms of artists, star power-wise. Young Buck. So I came back, gave you guys at least something, and reformatted things, and we'll be voicing my opinion a lot more on lists as well, because I know a lot of people have been wanting me to do that, and I've been meaning to do that for a while. So thank you guys, as always. I forgot how I outro these. I'm going to be honest with you. I haven't outroed in such a long time. Spotify, I think it's Spotify, Deezer, Pocket Casts, Apple Podcasts, all that. Have an amazing night, day, whenever you listen to this, and peace. Yeah, muscle memory. So it's coming back to me. Thank you, guys.